David, thank you. Senator Tammy Baldwin addressing the issue of affordable housing this afternoon following a recent announcement by the Trump administration seeking to stop large investors from buying up single-family homes. In an interview with Action 2 News, Baldwin says she has long supported cracking down on out-of-state investors and that she even has legislation to tackle that issue. The Stop Predatory Investing Act would target taxpayers who own 50 or more single-family properties, denying any tax deductions for interest paid or accrued. By taking some of those incentives for those corporations away, she hopes more homes will be made available to those who are actually looking to buy.
Now, some places it's worse than others, but what it means is that homes are off the market. They're not available for people to purchase anymore. They're only available to rent, and it's people who live in houses, not corporations.
This bill would also not allow for the depreciation of any residential rental properties those companies might own.